So some of you might not know a lot about Afghanistan, so I'd like to give you a quick tour of that. So we're a population of 36.6 million people in 652,864 square kilometer area, where the median population of 18.4% and the median elevation of 1,884 miles. Our official name is Islamic Republic of Afghanistan, and this entire presentation and the information placed in this particular presentation is based on the previous government after the fall of democratic government of Kabul. So we will be using all those information that we had back in the 2021 prior to that event. So the location and size, as I have already spoke about that, Afghanistan is a landlocked country situated at the hub of South Asia and Central Asia, with a population of approximately 36.6 million. And to the southeast of Afghanistan, we share border with Pakistan. To the west, we have border with Iran, and the northern border touches the Central Asian countries of Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, and Tajikistan. In the far northeast, it shares a border with China. Kabul is the capital city of Afghanistan with a population of over 5.5 million people. The information I had to update it, but I couldn't do that. In terms of natural resources, Afghanistan has abundance of natural resources. Among them is the natural gas, petroleum, coal, copper, chromite, talc, sulfur, lead, zinc, iron, ore, salt, precious and semi-precious stone like emeralds, rubies, and lapis lazuli. Afghanistan ethnic diversity it's quite diverse in terms of peoples for centuries. The country's constitution named 14 ethnic groups: Pashtun, Tajik, Hazara, Uzbek, Baloch, Turkmen, Nuristani, Pamiri, Arab, Gujar, Qazilbash, Aimak, and Pashai. Pashto and Dari are the official languages of Afghanistan. Uh, Afghanistan is an Islamic country in terms of religion. An estimated 80% of the population is Sunni and 20% are predominantly Shia. Um, the geography and climate of Afghanistan, soaring mountains, or features actually, soaring mountains, ranges, and steep plateaus, as well as deserts, rivers, lakes, verdant plain, and forest. It has a relatively dry climate with four distinct seasons. Summers are hot and sunny during the spring, and flowers bloom in profusion across the country. Autumns are mild, and winters are cold and bring snow to the most of the areas. So this was a little bit of quick tour of Afghanistan, and I would like to take you to our main presentation, which is the extractive industry of Afghanistan, and we'll be speaking about the opportunities and the challenges we had in the last 2 decades and what we will have in near future. So the presentation is actually prepared with the help of the company that I'm actually running. I'm the acting CEO, Diverco, the Within Energy Resources Consultants and Technical Service Providers. I would like to give you an overview of the today's presentation, which we will have the introduction to the mining sector of Afghanistan, the investment opportunities in the mining sector, and the investment opportunities in the hydrocarbon sector, and the tendering processes that we had, a kind of business environment. I'm going to give you a little bit of idea of that as well. And later on, I'll take you to the challenges that we are facing and what we have faced in the last 2 decades of democratic governments. So Afghanistan is endowed with the abundant mineral resources that may remain largely untapped. The country has world-class deposits of iron, copper, coal, dimension stone, cement, rare earth minerals, and a host of other minerals and hydrocarbon resources. Um, while I was working with the government, we actually focused in the government of Afghanistan see or also the country's vast mineral and hydrocarbon resources as a catalyst for long-term economic growth. Uh, the mining sector or the mineral sector has a promising potential of creating jobs, generating revenues, and transitioning the country from aid dependency towards self-reliance. Um, the Afghanistan Investment Facilitation Unit, um, under the President's office, where we were directly um, reporting to the President, we had designed several consequential documents in collaboration with the MOMP, the Ministry of Mines and Petroleum. These documents were including the mining sector roadmap, a new mineral law, and a new hydrocarbon law as a part of commitments to open the extractive industry for private investment. Um, and the IFU, or the Afghanistan Investment Facilitation Unit, we actually focused attracting domestic and foreign investors to exploit the Afghanistan plethora of mineral and hydrocarbon resources. Um, I tried to work more on the visuals rather than the text. So this is actually the geological map of Afghanistan. Uh, um, the map actually summarizes the information derived from the digitization of original data from the um, from Abdullah and Khemrov of 1977. They have actually developed this map, and later on, the use or the United States Geological Surveys, they have actually modified it with a little bit of labeling and colorization and used the you the recent or the active uh, softwares that we have in the industry, so called the digital elevation models. So in this particular map, um, it showed where are the boundaries and faults are presented, and the, the mineral modification to the map unit description had been clearly classified through lithostratigraphy and modernized technology. Um, the classification of mineral deposits, its type, interpretation, and the fields investigation, which is actually done by uh, Abdullah and Khamrov in 1977, um, and the model deposit model classification, the areas of fuel fields, and the mineral deposits, and its extents to the other boundaries, other international boundaries. This is a more of a simpler map which shows the most important minerals in reference to its location or locality. We have bauxites, the gold, and Ghazni province, which is a and then we have the gold deposits in the northern east side of Badakhshan province. Then we have copper, the world largest copper deposit of Afghanistan. It's in Logar province. It's in central Afghanistan. And then we have the copper deposit in the Herat and Saripur provinces, and Zobel province, which is in the east of Afghanistan. Um, to the investment, in terms of investment opportunities, if you go through this particular chart, we have commodities, its location, and the approximate reserve or grade, and the references that we actually took, I actually copied here, given here. Iron, we have the biggest iron deposits of Bamyan province, which is around 400 million tons with a grade of 65%. And then we have the iron of Panjshir province to the northern side of Afghanistan with the 275 millions of tons. And the difference, these terms are taken from AGS, Afghanistan Geological Survey, and USGS. Herat province has very good grade of iron with the 47 to 57%. But yeah, these areas has to be prospected again to understand the actual figures. Copper and gold of Ghazni province, and it's approximately 7.7 metric ton. And then we have Balkhab copper, which is around 300 to 400. I'm sorry, it's a 400 to 5,000 meter long, and a width of 300 to 400 meter. Its grade is 0.25 to 1.34 weight% of copper. The gold and copper of Uruzgan and province is around 13,600 tons, and Takhar Santini and Noraba gold is actually of 30,272 kilogram, and the Badakhshan gold is around 960 kilogram. All these information are taken from AGS and USGS. Later on, there were some international companies joint venture with some of the national companies, and they were exploring the area. But due to security reasons, they couldn't continue to the development of those particular mineral sites. But these information are actually accurate, and nearly accurate. But if the area has to be, explored more in order to understand the actual figures. Coal, we have uh, untapped coal, and it's we can say virgin coal fields in the northern side of Afghanistan, northern provinces. Samangan has 555 million tons of coal. Saripul has 141 million tons of coal. And then we have Bamiyan province, Baghlan province, and Herat province with 113, 16, 11 million tons of coal. Most of these coal deposits and these fields are artisanally mined by local communities, and they are actually mm, exporting it to neighboring countries, Pakistan, and also a part of this coal goes to Iran. But actually, the mines are not that modernized, and every year we have accidents in these particular areas. Recently, a week ago, there was a tragic accident happen in one of these mines back in Afghanistan. Um, the cement materials, or the cement we have in Balkhab province of 2.4 billion tons. In Herat, we have 1.3 billion tons. In Paktia province, we have 345 million tons. Uh, Afghanistan has the best marble, and some of these marble were termed as the Italian marble. Sort of similarities it has in terms of texture and the quality. The Daikundi province marble, its estimated deposit is 47.9 million tons, and Herat, Jerzemstan province, or this particular area, it has 117.52 million tons of estimated deposit. Similarly, Herat and the two areas of Herat has 31 and 36 million tons. In terms of gemstone, Afghanistan is rich of gemstones. We have um, uh, lapis lazuli of Badakhshan and Panjshir, rubies, Kabul province and Zabul, the emeralds of Panjshir, tourmaline of Badakhshan, Daikundi, Zabul and Kunar province, aquamarine of Panjshir province, and nephrite, the finest nephrite of Kunar and Nangarhar, which is again artisanally extracted by the local communities and has been smuggled to nearby country, Pakistan, and from there it goes to China with a little bit of cut and polished by the name of or labeled of Pakistan. So to move from a conceptual understanding of Afghanistan mineral resources to initial classification of probable and proven reserve, a number of studies have been conducted by the USSR, the USGS, and with collaboration with AGS. So it's been stated that Afghanistan holds greater than $1 trillion worth of minerals resources. However, these minerals have not been successfully developed during the 20th and 21st century. Um, this is again uh, the location of minerals and hydrocarbons with the proper identification of the particular belts of the minerals. We have chromite and asbestos, and then we have the clay associate minerals. The legends are actually given here. I hope you see that clearly. Um, then we have the oil and gas fields, which is labeled in and red. It's a light red. And oil and gas project areas that we have. Most of the Chinese companies working there. Um, we have uh, the basins actually semi-developed, undeveloped or untapped. The Afghan Tajik basin of with the green, a light green legend, um, where it's there are you know supposed to be um, the gas and the petroleum deposits, fields. And then we have Amu Darya Basin, Helmand Basin, Katawaz Basin, and Yellow, which covers almost three provinces, Paktika, Khost, and Zabul. It has copper, gold, and oil fields, along with gas, which is unexplored. It's a virgin field. Um, and then we have Helmand basins. Again, it's entirely unexplored and it's not been developed. Um, Coming to the rare and critical mineral, Afghanistan is rich of lithium deposits, and there are estimated to be 1.4 million tons of rare earth minerals and 3.5 billion tons of other rare earth minerals. This includes a large number of rare earth minerals deposits located at Khanishin in southern Afghanistan of Helmand province. The decision regarding exploiting these minerals were based on both economic and national security consideration. And during the time when I was working for the Office of the President, it was extremely difficult to exploit these areas as we did not have enough fund to explore these areas, and the security situation was not that fit to encourage the international investors to work in it. So, um, in terms of lithium, we have the two main sources of lithium are in Afghanistan, which are hard rocks and pegmatite, and solution within the continental brine. Both are which are present in Afghanistan. The bulk of the world supply of lithium comes from Salton Playa lakes, also called salars, after their Spanish name, as you all know that. Afghanistan has similarities with the South American deposits and so-called lithium triangle of Argentina, Bolivia, and Chile, with its elevated enclosed basin, has high evaporation rates, and in some cases young volcanic rocks. Um, this particular figure is taken from the USGS, which actually they worked on it in 2007. Um, in terms of lake sediments, Afghanistan has a number of similar lakes. The reconnaissance sampling by Department of Defense um, um, indicated a high lithium level in lake sediments. These are the areas with the lake sediments in the table that's that you can see. The lakes have not been systematically sampled for lithium or other potentially economic elements such as cobalt and radium, uranium, and other minerals or the critical minerals. And it's not possible at present to give an estimated resources. Um, so we have Chakhansur of Nimroz province with particular figures that I've actually give here, and then we have um, uh, Ghazni, the Shnawar of Ghazni province, 110 parts per million, and then we have the Godezare Eastern Namaka Saherat on the province actually. Sorry. In pegmatite source, the the areas that I've actually copied here, um, the potential economic concentration of lithium were found in Parun, Shamakat, Taglaur, Ishkashim, Alingar, in Marid and Nilau Kulam fields of um, Nuristan. The Purun district of Nuristan province, with a geological estimated resource of 3 million tons of lithium, is the most extensive uh, deposit. And some of these veins are 20 to 14 meter thick and extend for 1 to 1.5 kilometers. The, the content of the albite bodies varies from 15 to 35%, and the average content of lithium oxide in deposits of Parun district is 1.5%. Um, this is the mineral localities or the lithium localities and the northern side of the northern locations of Afghanistan. Um, in yellow, you can see the lithium deposits and the other uranium and tectonics and major faults that you can see in the picture. And this particular um, map was taken from the USGS service, and this information are actually taken from Lagman Grand Tech Complex. Coming to the investment opportunities in the hydrocarbon sector, uh, we have, as I've already talked about, the basins that are actually unexplored. We have Amu Darya. The estimated area of this basin is about 57,000 square kilometer and divided into 6 blocks. The aerial and seismic surveys have been carried out on 500 geological structures, while exploratory drilling was performed on 64, out of which 8 structures resulted in discovery of commercial gas fields. The areas are Khwaja uh, Goredak, Yatim Khak, Juma, Bishkurt, Jangal in all these areas. And 6 structures resulted in oil fields, which are Angot, Kashkari, Zamutse, and Aligul of this area. The total reserve discovered from the 8 gas field of Shabargan are around 141 BCM, of which 76 BCM have been produced with the help of Chinese companies. They've actually JV'd with one of the domestic company in Afghanistan. The Afghan-Tajik II basin, with an area of 31,000 square kilometer, this basin is divided into 12 blocks, and based on the aerial and magnetic, gravitational, and seismic surveys and exploratory drilling, it is predicted to be a productive oil and gas basin. Two blocks, Sankuli and Mazar-e Sharif, have been awarded, and 10 blocks are ready for tendering. These are the information that we had back in to the event happened in August 2021. The consortium has carried out an aerial magnetic gravitational surveys in 2015, and these two blocks with a length of around 15,000 line kilometer. In addition, with the consortium has conducted 1,235-kilometer 2D seismic survey in 2019. The Afghan Tajik consortium, they were about to drill 5,500 plus meters deep exploratory well in 2021. The Katawaz Basin, as I've actually talked about it, it is unexplored basin, and there are potentially gas and oil fields with the gold and copper deposits. Similarly, Taripul Basin and Helmand Basin are also unexplored, and they had to be explored to know more about it. Um, While working with the government of Afghanistan, we have closely collaborated with the Ministry of Mines and Petroleum and designed the mineral tendering process of minerals and hydrocarbons. In order to bring easiness to the national and international investors, this was a simple process that we have designed. The MEP were announcing the tendering process, and we had developed the technical mining committee as per the mining law, which would evaluate the bids and mix recommendation. And after the evaluation of the technical committee, they were sending a report to the High Economic Council, and they had to approve the preferred bidder. And then this particular preferred bidder report were sent to the National Procurement Council and the NPC, which was chaired by ex-president. Um, he used to approve the preferred bidder, and for the last or final approval, it had to be taken to the cabinet and take their approval as well. And later on, the grants were executed and contract were grants by the Ministry of Mines and Petroleum to the license holder. Similarly, there was a process with the hydrocarbons, but the Afghanistan oil and gas regulatory authority, they had to take the tender into announcement and collect the application of the national and international companies. Um, uh, they used to bring the reports to the cabinet for evaluation and other packages prepared by the Afghanistan Oil and Gas Regulatory Authority. So this was a simple process, and there were no hurdles, but the time frame they have actually designed were quite long, and we were really struggling to understand how to work on that. In terms of infrastructure of Afghanistan, we have the um, dry ports, ring roads, and airports. Afghanistan has seven dry ports of Kunduz, which actually touches with the Uzbekistan, and then we have the Balkh that has a border with the Uzbekistan and Jozjan actually. We have Herat provinces having a border with Iran, and we have transporting the goods on this particular border. Also, Nimroz province has a border with Iran, and then we have Nangarhar and uh, Kandahar provinces and border with Pakistan, and these are the dry ports that have been used for import and export of the goods. Um, we have five international airports: Kabul, Kandahar, Balkh, Herat, and Nangarhar. The main roads are circulating in all over Afghanistan and reaching to Iran, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, and through two borders. uh, with Pakistan. And there are also some other ways that actually enters into Pakistan. Um, in terms of railway, we have railway um, um, rails which connects Iran and from Herat, and also we have um, um, Badakhshan railway, which is not quite potentially um, um, mm, working on. This goes from Badakhshan to China. Um, this is the railway network with international boundaries, and there are planned railway corridors, and there are 120 kilometers of existing line with under construction of 31 kilometers. The planned railway corridors are the central corridor of 574 kilometers, and then we have the northern southeast of 665 kilometer, and the northwest northeastern uh, railway corridor of 1970 kilometer. We have regional railways with Iran and China. There are planned corridors that will across the western provinces and enter into Pakistan. There are four multi-modal hub of the railway stations, 11 dry ports, and major stations are 19, 18 railway stations, 11 custom stations, and 4 junctions. Um, In terms of power, Afghanistan are exporting the electricity from Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, and Tajikistan with a various number of kilowatts. We have um, power uh, coming from the hydropowers and also from the wind, which is not fulfilling the needs of the industry or the local communities' needs. Coming to the challenges, Afghanistan is actually um, itself, its location is um, kind of challenging to the neighboring countries. Its geostrategic location and geopolitics in terms of Middle Strait harbor water tend to be a curse that breed violent conflicts. For many years, Afghanistan has been natural corridor for conquerors and traders that move troops or goods from west to east, between Middle East and India, and other way around. This was the path chosen by Alexander the Great, 382, 28 years before Christ. Nowadays, Afghanistan is more than a corridor. It's a cross for routes in Asia. Um, in Afghanistan converge three political regions where many civilization resides. In the east, Pakistan, where 90% of its Muslim population is Sunni and 7% is Shia. In the north, we have the plains of Central Asia are crossed by the Amu Darya and Sir Darya rivers, where we can see the Orthodox Christian civilization among the main religion, um, Islam. Um, the China in its ancient culture that each day gains influence in the area. Um, and then we have in the east, in the west, the plateaus of Persian Iran with the Shia influence, in where there is Sunni Muslim community of Arabian Peninsula. Afghanistan emerges as one of the risks of great game, and this is the name of the geostrategic dispute that held um, the 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 Russians and other empires in the Central Asia during the 19th century. Um, the Wakhan corridor, located in Pamir Mountains, northeast of Afghanistan, in the extreme of which is situated uh, with China, is the strongest signal of the intent of preventing an armed confrontation between these powers. China borders, one of the highest of the world, remain closed during at least 5 months a year due to the snow. However, this path can have an important role in the future as energy corridor for the layout of the alternative gas and oil pipeline to the current one that transport energy products to China. Um, the, Afghan, the potential energy corridor of Afghanistan, although it's has several oil reserves in northern and in the north of strategic mineral in the south, its main value is given by geopolitical situation. Afghanistan became a transit place for the energy resource coming from Iran and Turkmenistan to Pakistan, India, and even China. Iran has the second most important gas reserve in the world, and Turkmenistan is at the fourth in its place. Um, when we see the strategic location of Afghanistan, Pakistan, and India's role uh, is wide, and it sees Afghanistan as a territory that enables it to win the strategic depth and necessary in a conflict against India. Um, we would not go into detail of these political discussion. Um, Coming to the second point of the challenges, Afghanistan has its weird and complex geology. The uh, the reconnaissance surveys conducted by the Russians in 1970s, um, and then the USGS surveys along with the AGS. Um, there is a the area or um, the topography of Afghanistan is extremely complex and weird. Second thing is the insecurity and the corruption and the weak management of the governments we had in the last 2 decades. Um, they were unable to control the corruption, and they were lack of the experts and skillful officials in the government, and they could not carry out the legal framework and the proper advocacy of the mineral sector. And then we have the poor infrastructure, the roads, and the electricity supplies to the mineral sites. It's extremely poor, and power deficiency is one of the biggest challenge. Um, so this was overall kind of overview of the Afghanistan mineral sector, and I'm going to take you to the last slideshow that I've actually prepared, which I personally visited the mineral sites, and these are I've got like stories of these particular sites, and it was a great experience visiting these areas. One of the tasks that we have been given while working for the Office of the President was the evaluation of Afghan investment company, which run by the local Afghans having influence in the government. So what happened that they've claimed that the Ghuri cement plant, which is in Baghlan province, it's a very old cement plant built in 1940s with the help of Czech Republic and Ukrainians. The company claimed that the insurgents or the militants actually attacked the plant, and they have caused the damage to the plant and took the machinery with themselves. So it was a claim of around $31.5 million, and we visited the site, and I was leading that particular group of evaluation committee. So I'm going to give you a little bit of this uh, um, a tour of this particular plant, which was around 60 years old, but still functional, very well set up, very well designed. This is mm, um, the the cement plant where there were two ovens of with a capacity of 1,200 tons per day and 1,400 tons per day. Uh, this is the area, very green area, and nearby they have the coal deposits where they used to bring the coal um, to the uh, to the mine, to the plant, and then they have the other materials, carbonated materials nearby the plant. Um, this was the delegation we were supposed to go and disguise ourselves in as very local. We couldn't go in wearing jeans or suited booted, because of the security situation, and we traveled by local transport and reached the site. And this is again one of the picture from the ovens. And here we were looking at the ramps and crane system that they were bringing the raw material from the surrounding areas, and they were expelling all those materials into the dump site and to prepare the cement. This was the system that later on they modified. They were actually controlling all the heat system of the ovens from here, and the operators were local and they could understand the signals or the language of this particular system. Um, the the person you see with the tie and the suit, he's actually he was the manager of this particular plant and also the coal mines. So these are the two ovens. Each of them were functional and they were working very good. In 1930s, this plant were in 1940s and onwards. This plant used to give cement to Central Asian countries, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and also to Pakistan via Pakistan to India. Um, they were actually manufacturing all these stakes of the cement by themselves, and everything they were doing at the mine site um, produced in the production were done inside Afghanistan. Uh, this is the area close to the mine where there are the coal mines, and they have actually developed the inclined shafts. The local miners were there; they were working. As you can see, that it's extremely dangerous while seeing it because of the poor roof support and no proper bolting systems, and the locomotives were completely destroyed and everything were not quite functional. But they were actually doing what they could do, and the production rate were around 350 to 400 tons per day. These are the locomotives made of Russia, um, and they were actually taking all these coals from the shafts through diesel motors, and the coal were extracted through hand hammers and all these conventional equipments and instruments. This is the picture of one of the local miner who were working inside the mines. And then in August 2021, almost 2 weeks before the fall of democratic government of Afghanistan, I was leading a team of 4 people from different ministries, and we were expecting the processing facilities, 27 processing facilities of the industrial minerals called talc. It's the area of the talc is around 119 kilometer. So one of the finest talc that they have it, and these are the companies, the facilities they have built there, and the talc they were actually processing it. And we had I was quite fortunate to travel to Balkham Copper, which is in northern of Afghanistan, quite far from the capital city. This is the area where the vein of the coal deposit is around 14 to 16 meter, and it's untapped, and it's a virgin coal field, and you can see that it's the outcrop is visible, and it's estimated to be 200 to 300 million tons of coal deposits. So this was all from my side. Thank you very much